You know what I would say is that, okay, well, let's talk about new trends. Use ChatGPT or Grok or one of those other ones and actually ask it about the people that you want to invest in and the projects you want to invest in. Ask who they are, how they've done in the past, how they compare. ChatGPT will summarize that for you in 2 minutes. And if it meets your investment criteria, then go ahead. But I use it nonstop now to remind myself about the myriad of projects out there and companies out there that are looking for our investment dollars. But 155 million ounces of silver equivalent and a brand new discovery there called Pegaso in 2012 that tells you that deposit's bigger. Right now, it's a 12 million ton deposit. So with a new discovery underneath the current deposit, it's bigger. Plus there's Mexico's richest moly gold oxide deposit, representing another 500,000 ounces of gold equivalent. Approximately 60 million cash in the treasury. There's about 62 million shares issued and outstanding. Between me, Eric Sprott, and Jupiter, and so when I say me, I mean my family too, we control over 33 or 34% of the company. Just three of us.
For disclosure purposes, our site does not make recommendations for purchases or sale of stocks, services, or products. Nothing on our site or this podcast should be construed as an offer or solicitation to buy or sell products or securities. All investing involves risk and possible losses. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. For disclosure purposes, Apollo Silver is a paid-for client on the Investor Ideas website.
You know what I thought was kind of interesting was that the metal prices were getting stretched and the stocks weren't following. Like some of them were, a couple of them were, but in general, there was more of a consolidation in the equities while silver and gold just kept skyrocketing. And you could see it a few days ago. There was more churning in the equities. It's not surprising to me that we've had this correction, I guess, and a drastic one in the commodity price, or not in the commodity prices, in the, you can't even get on Kitco. Clicked Kitco, I don't know, 30 seconds ago. There we go. And I couldn't, there, I finally got on. Gold down $450 and silver down 30. Went up pretty quick.
Andy, it's always great having you on the show. We want to talk about first, congratulations on your capital raise. Jupiter Asset Management and Eric Sprott are two fantastic names to double down on for 2026.
Yeah, thanks, Cali. They're already considerably large shareholders, but now with that further commitment of another 25 million bucks between them and 27.5 with the insiders participating. We got Eric at a fraction under 10% and Jupiter at 12 point something. And, if they exercise their warrants, they're both, I don't know, 12 and 15 or something like that. So it's great to have them on board. It's great to have them supporting, and onward and upward.
How much does that leave you with for cash in the till now? Because I know you raised just under 30 million a few months ago as well. So are you around basically 60 million in the bank for going
That's right.
forward?
Yeah, 58 million, I think, in cash in the treasury, and there's a $4 warrant that expires this July, so it's 6 months from expiration, and that could bring in another $28 million.
You didn't even need this next raise that you just did. Has that changed the trajectory now that you're going to be very well funded for Apollo?
Well, people maybe wondered why we took the money, but first of all, when financing windows are open and your industry is taking money, you take some, because when the financing windows close, it's difficult to get money. Even for groups like us that can raise a lot of money, it's difficult to get it. So when you can, you take the money. Number one. Number two, we are anticipating or hoping to sign a big compensation agreement with the local community at Benito Juarez. And having extra money in the bank when you sign that agreement gives them confidence that you're going to be there to pay the bills. And so, we're asking to be able to go to work, to be able to advance the community over the course of 30 plus years, 50 million US dollars. And we'll probably end up spending 20 plus million dollars a year in exploration and economic study and advancing Cinco de Mayo. At the point we can get the community to vote and pass the vote in favor of us doing that. So having that big pile of cash in the bank isn't going to hurt us. And then, we've got work to do at Calico, and my guess is that a PFS at Calico, and yeah, we could do a PA first, and we probably will, but ultimately, it's got to go through PFS, and that's a $10 to $15 million ticket all in itself. So this company's at the point where it can start to spend a lot of money. I'm glad it's in the bank.
The best time to be a junior mining stock or mid-tier and going into development. Do you want to give some commentary on what we're watching here as we were talking before, quarterly moves in a day with silver and gold? I mean, we were up 5,500 with gold, and now we're down to 4,900 around there today. You're a seasoned investor in mining. What are you paying attention to right now?
Well, I was a teenager the last time gold made moves like this. So in 1971, gold deregulated, and the price ceiling of $35 an ounce was taken off gold, and it ran to $800 an ounce over the next 9 years, and that was the peak, and then it just slowly unwound until that gold run of the 2000s, and silver follows suit. This is a generational event, much like, I don't know, automobiles in the 20s and electronics and the information revolution of whatever it was from the 80s through the internet in 2000 and the last 20 years of that. And this is significant. There's talk about the debasement trade. There's clearly a economic Cold War between the Western world and the BRICS countries. I mean, they're creating their own currency. It looks like we're going to have two different trading platforms or two different pricing platforms for the same commodities globally for 50 or 60. Well, since World War II, the US has been the economic engine of the globe, the world police, the trading power. They seem to be struggling now with the advance of China. I mean, I can throw so many things out there that are changing what's going on. I mean, I don't know, since World War II or maybe longer, we were in this globalization trend. It's like, don't mine it here, don't process it here, don't refine it here, do it over there. It's cheaper over there. Manufacture it over there, blah, blah, blah. Now we're in this nationalist movement across, and it looked like it started to me with the Arab Spring, but we're in this nationalization trend globally, every country. We're going to rely on our own affairs. We're going to do it. We're going to have mines. I'm going to say mines because that's my business, but we're going to have mines. We're going to smelt it. We're going to refine it. We're not going to look for it elsewhere because they're actually not going to give it to us from elsewhere. And we're going to make the global investments instead of relying on others. And all those things combined, plus this advance in green technology causing a huge increase in the demand for the industrial demand for silver. All of these things combined are creating this generational trade. And so it's not over. yeah, things go up, and when they go straight up like they have for the last few weeks, they're going to come back down a bit. But I think we're far from done, and and I think it's going to happen across the spectrum of minerals, and gold and silver and tungsten and antimony and lithium and tin and zinc and all of them. And so it takes a long time to go from exploration, from discovery to actually being a operating mine. I don't know what it takes, 20 years, 30 years, somewhere in between. It takes a long time. So we're not fixing the problems overnight. And if you, and I'm talking way too much, but if you look at, I mean, there hasn't been a brand new discovery in a long time. There's all brownfields projects that everybody's working and promoting and talking about and restarting. And I mean, I just can't wait to see what happens when somebody actually nails a new discovery, or Apollo gets social license at Cinco, and we actually get to go drilling at Pegaso and see what's there. Like it just the market's going to wake up, and it's going to get fun.
Last year when I talked about it, everyone said it was never going to happen. It was all the crypto investors have now moved. I mean, they were all through VREC, they were at Metals Forum, and all of them are looking at silver stocks. And I think Tether obviously has opened up that doorway as well, that you can just go buy gold through Tether. Um, I think that's probably going to be one of the biggest changes as far as retail into junior mining and in the mining space. Do you have commentary, or what would you give as your thoughts for some of the new investors that are maybe a little naive as far as going into silver stocks, what to pay attention to, what to look for as that changes?
So I mean, my oldest son trades and invests in these crypto things. I really don't. I just don't understand the whole thing, but I do understand mineral exploration, mine development, investing in these, and so that's where I stick to. It's where I've been for 40 years. I think that there is a huge opportunity. What I would say to your investors is, our industry has it's a bit colorful because the rules for venture capital are a little bit loose, and so in mineral exploration, lots of them fail, or one in I don't know, a few hundred makes a really successful mine, and there's the stages along the way from early exploration, whether it's geophysics or geochemistry or just some mapping and sampling, to where you're drilling to delineate something, and then you're trying to figure out its economics and all these things. I mean, there's so many ups and downs in it that the industry attracts less than desirable people. People that think they're in the mining business, and really they're only interested in mining your pockets. So do your homework on who. You can bet on real people doing real things all the time. You don't have to go buy the next thing that gets promoted across your screen or that you see on the internet that's talking about being close to some big thing, or look, 2.5 years ago you could have bought Montage at 70 cents a share, and it's $13 a share thereabouts. It's got a 5 billion market cap. It's supported by the Lundin family and Zijin, and it's just a monster opportunity. 2.5 years ago, it was cheap. Discovery Silver just over 1 year ago was 75 cents. It's $11 today, and an 8 billion market cap, and Canada's newest 300,000+ ounce producer. And there are opportunities out there. You can bet on real people, real projects, and still find good value. And so that's what I would suggest to your people. Whether it's us and our things, investigate the track record of the people that you're going to investigate in. And what I would say is that, okay, well, let's talk about new trends. Use ChatGPT or Grok or one of those other ones and actually ask it about the people that you want to invest in and the projects you want to invest in. Ask who they are, how they've done in the past, how they compare. ChatGPT will summarize that for you in 2 minutes. And if it meets your investment criteria, then go ahead. But I use it nonstop now to remind myself about the myriad of projects out there and companies out there that are looking for our investment dollars.
As you're talking about a lot of those bigger companies, I mean, like Hecla is gushing cash. Core is, you guys are now, 60 million in the bank or 58 million in the bank. What do you think is the trajectory like going forward, like with this, that there's just so much money on the table with it, especially in silver and like the precious metals? Is that going to change, you think, a lot of the key milestones of moving things ahead now that there's just so much cash being put back into the mining sector after so many years of it being a little on the quiet side?
There's going to be more money thrown at more things. And I was on the phone with a really good group. I mean, I'm talking a group that in the last 20 years has had 13 companies that have exceeded $1 billion in market cap. They're part of the group that just gave a ton of money to Montage. And this is a really good group. And they're looking at a project up in the Northwest Territories that, is known to our industry for 25, 30 plus years. It hasn't been touched in 25 years. And now it's gonna. The values, the money that's coming in, the need for metals is gonna have people looking at lots of things that maybe haven't made sense for years. It's gonna have tons of money thrown into brand new exploration. For Apollo's case, Cinco de Mayo. I mean, the Mag Silver got asked to leave the property 13 years ago, and then nothing's been done since. But I'm betting that the community is gonna turn it around and let mining happen there, and let Apollo go to work there because there's so much money and there's so much opportunity now that if you don't, it's just going somewhere else. So. Well, you know what they say in the farming business, make hay while the sun shines. Well, the sun's shining.
Do you want to reiterate for investors that are new or haven't seen some of our other podcasts? Obviously, I mean, silver's, I think, 89 right now, but it was up over 110, 114, I think the other day was the high. But the projects that you have, because even when I was talking with Ivan, who's obviously a big fan of Apollo, we were talking about the fact that a lot of these newer projects that are coming online are lower and lower grade, whereas you have Cinco de Mayo and Calico, which are pretty fantastic projects that I think make a lot of sense at these prices.
Sure. So Calico is in Southern California in the county of San Bernardino, which is a mining-friendly county. The project sits between Equinox's Castle Mountain gold mine and Rio Tinto's borax mine. It's just off the highway. There's rail there, there's water there, there's labor force there, there's power there, and it's a well-known district. A lot of the silver back in the day came from the Calico region, and we have a deposit there that has 125 million measured and indicated ounces of silver. It's and another 57 million inferred ounces. It's the second largest primary undeveloped silver deposit in the United States. And the only one bigger is privately owned. So if you're investing in a public company, the only way to the biggest one you can get as a public investor is Apollo with Calico. And it's ready to go through economic study, and that will happen. And look at, Pan American owned it back in the day. We bought it from them for cash when silver was, call it worthless, $20 an ounce or whatever it was. We bought it for 41 million cash. We put another 20 plus into it. But at $60 silver, at $40 silver, it looks really good. And, it's in a county where you could permit a mine. So, and it's on private land. So there's all that there. There's another 130,000 ounces of gold in an early deposit that we know is bigger. And there's two other critical minerals in it. There's some zinc and there's some barite. And so Calico is one piece. And then we have this option on Cinco de Mayo, which was one of the big assets in Mag Silver, which got bought by Pan American. So now I have this second sort of relationship with Pan American. So I suspect they're watching, but that is 155 million ounces of silver equivalent in a silver lead zinc deposit. And there's some gold and some copper in it. I don't think those metallurgically are going to come out in a con, and they're probably not enough value in their own con to warrant another circuit. And so, so we'll just talk about the silver lead zinc, but 155 million ounces of silver equivalent and a brand new discovery there called Pegaso in 2012 that tells you that deposit's bigger. And the world's authority on these deposits, CRDs, is Peter McGaw. He spent 30 plus years dealing with CRDs in Mexico. And Peter says they go from 10 million tons to 50 million tons. And right now, it's a 12 million ton deposit. So with a new discovery underneath the current deposit, it's bigger. Plus, there's Mexico's richest moly gold oxide deposit, representing another 500,000 ounces of gold equivalent. Approximately 60 million cash in the treasury. There's about 62 million shares issued and outstanding. Between me, Eric Sprott, and Jupiter, and so when I say me, I mean my family too, we control over 33 or 34% of the company. Just three of us. It's trading well. I mean, it's okay. Today's a really bad day in the market. Well, it depends how you look at it.
Great buying day.
I'm buying some stuff today. One of my favorite brokers, Bernie DeGroot out of Calgary, says, buy from the scared and sell to the greedy. And so, and if you play, I've done that for years, and, big opportunity. So I'm buying some Torex today. I'm buying it at $65 a share. The beginning of the week, it was 85. They produce about, I don't know, close to 500,000 ounces a year. How do you not?
Andy, is there anything in closing that you want investors to pay attention, or what they can look forward to coming up in the next few months from Apollo?
Last summer, we fortunate enough to be able to hire Ross McElroy for a CEO position. Ross is putting a big plan together to get Calico up and moving, because we had kind of mothballed it a little bit while the silver trade was quiet. So I think there's a lot of good news flow to come from there, and a lot of good opportunity, and an economic study that's based on, I don't know, $36 silver or $40 silver, because as miners we take, I don't know why, but we bet that these things are going lower, and we take these long-term discounted average prices to do our economics on. I think there's an economic story coming there later. There'll be a bunch of met work, maybe some geotech drilling, all in advancement of economic study and PFS. And then I'm pretty sure the community we're getting closer to calling for a vote in the community at Cinco. And, that's my big exciting bet, I guess, is if we get that. So I think there's lots to come for Apollo. It's well structured. It's got great shareholders. It's got cash. It's early in the game. Somebody sent me a piece the other day comparing Vizsla Silver to Apollo. They called Vizsla the Ferrari. And hey, and Ferraris are great. I like mine. But they called Vizsla the Ferrari, and they called Apollo the freight train. And so, their point was that once a freight train gets going, it doesn't stop. You know, this freight train's just getting moving now. So